Hey, 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 ho, ho. Okay, so welcome to the Dutchmans Wood Shack. I haven't been on in a while because I usually do it on my phone, but guess what? My phone is messed up. So there you go. So what I want to discuss a little bit of today is what I'm doing. Now, I will be next weekend, not this following weekend, but next weekend, I'll be in Batavia, Illinois, farmers market slash art row, which is the back half. I'll be selling stuff. Ease Glass will be there doing their fused glass. Got to come see this stuff. It's awesome, right? Makes my stuff look bad. Okay, so what I wanted to show you, here's one of the projects I just got through finishing. This is this stuff. You can see it. It's actually this stuff cut in squares. And what I did is sandwich two pieces together. So it's maple. It's pretty hard. Had some good grain to it. The other two I'm going to probably use as a tabletop. But here's what I did. Okay, so here's a few. It's a fun project. It's simple. It took me a little bit longer to carve it out, but what I did with this, now I've soaked it 3 times in food in butcher block sealer, which is Howard's. I started out with this stuff. Now, if any of you guys, I think pretty much everybody has wood butcher block sealer, this is what you should be using. It's good stuff. There's 2 different kinds. You can get them anywhere. Hang on a second. Man, can't get up. I can't get up. I've fallen and I can't get up. Anyway, that's a true story. Okay, so for the typical people, you can buy this stuff. And this stuff is good too. This is basically conditioner for it. Both do the same thing. I use this as a first coat because this one here sealed it kind of like sanding sealer, but I use this for the last 2 coats. And I'm going to probably put 2 more coats on it. Usually I put 5 or 6 on. It's never going to be really shiny because now when you're using butcher block sealer, you're using it because you're going to have food around it, right? So that's the reason why I'm using this. Normally I make them shiny, and this one, it came out pretty good. So if you want to see this bowl, come to the farmer's market in a week and you'll see it. And it will be for sale. I haven't put a price on it yet, so I don't know. Okay, so I'm working on this. I'll get this out of the way first. Okay, so now I'm working on this one. Now this is a piece of Osage. Now the idea with this one is a little bit different than I normally do. Couple of keynotes for it first. Okay, so I'm gonna make sure I have to show you this first. Okay, so it's coming this way, right? Okay, so now what happens when you're sanding is you get scrapes. Okay, so the same thing goes with your tools. Okay, say you're carving something, you're going around, you're going against the grain, right? So when you're doing that, you're leaving marks. The idea is to have sharp tools and make it as smooth as you can. Now, nobody's perfect. I mean, you're always going to have marks and stuff. It's just that's what sanding's for. This is a harder wood, so it takes a little bit more sanding to take care of. Oaks, red oak and white oak, they're hard. They're sanding, and the idea is to try and have the sharpest tool that you can to smooth out everything. Now, I use a couple of tools. Sometimes I use this. It's a little bit dull. I have to sharpen this, but because it's got a point, it's rounded. I don't use that for finishing it as much. This one here, I probably have to sharpen this a little bit too, I think. Yeah. So I use this one a lot. This one here is really nice. You know, people laugh at me because when I'm on the, hey, Mary Pat, welcome. Thank you, Mary Pat. Thank you, Mary Pat. Thank you. Thank you. Anyway, I have different tool rests, and I'm just gonna lay this on here. But when I'm doing it, I'm basically going a little bit even strokes. And the reason I use this is, see right here, it leaves a little bit of a mark. Those do. So the idea is you want to get it down as much as possible. In the end, you're going to end up sanding it anyway. So something like this, if you've got a deep groove in it, I use. Okay, so now I've been known to. You're gonna laugh at this. Okay, so this is a belt for my belt sander. And this is, I believe, 60 grit. I think it's 60 grit. Anyway, it's the roughest sandpaper I have. Okay, so here's two things you want to know about it. One is because it's the deep sand stuff, and normally I use this to get. I'm working on rough stuff. It might be outside. You know, I can shave myself. You know. So I normally use this to get really bad imperfections off. But when you're sanding something like this, it's hardwood, you don't want to put deep grooves in it because it'll take forever to get out. I try to use this. My big thing is 80 and 100. Usually I stick with 100. And honestly, see, I did this not rough sanding just a little while ago. See that? It's pretty good. There's some rough spots right here. You can see right there. Inside is the worst. Okay, so the inside has an issue right in here. So you're going to be working at the inside more than the outside. Two things to be aware of against the grain. Now, the log is like this. Obviously, all right? So the log is like this. So what happens is the sanding points in here are going to be this end and this end. So it'll be the ends on the other side, both in front and outside and inside. So make note of that. So when you're doing the inside's harder to do than the outside because the outside's easier to work on. The inside, not so much. Now, normally I don't have this on this. I don't have a spindle. The only reason I'm doing this is because I got bark on the outside. And when I'm done, I'm going to take this on my drill press and flatten it with a big sander and make it so you still have bark on it. Because that's the idea. Now I'm doing a kind of a backwards live edge. So live edge is when you have bark on the outside and all that. I'm doing it backwards. I'm backwards, so it's backwards. If you guys watch me enough, you know I'm kind of an unorthodox guy. Mary Pat knows. So these I like because you can go like that, right? The only problem with these is they wear out fast. So they're good for a while, but now you can see right in here, there's marks. And there's a little indentation there. I have to fill that in a little bit more. I use Gorilla Glue in it because it doesn't show up as much. It's clear. But what I'm going to do is I got to take my sander, all right, and this is my palm sander, and I sand it. And you always want to do that in this end and this end. But, and there's another thing, fractures. Do I have to worry about that? You know, I think I'm fine with this. If you're worried about it, then just take some Gorilla Glue. Just put a little on, let it soak in. Now, here's the thing. You don't want to be, I would probably sand it off in like 6 hours. Or, again, I've used my chisel or something that doesn't gouge. But if you use a chisel, you got to go with the grain. Don't go against the grain. Okay, same thing with sanding. Go with the grain, don't go against the grain. Because if you go against the grain, you're making marks. One thing you don't want to do, if you're making tables or chairs or furniture, you never go against the grain. Because all you do It's like this stuff, right? You want to go this way, you don't want to go this way. So, well, that's rustic. So that's actually a pallet, believe it or not. All I did was make doors for it, and yeah, they're made this way. I could use the handles. I could use that. Although I did make a mess of this. You know, I did that. You can thank my lathe for that one. See that? I have to clean that off. That's an antique lathe level. It works. That's an antique level. I think this thing's about 100 years old. So, what do we got here? Let me see the comments. Hi, Dorita. Okay, so as I'm working on this bowl, the one object of the game I want to, now while I'm working on it is just to get these all out of here. So the focus is trying to get all these rings out of here. So now my fingers are kind of, the boss comes in here usually and feels this out because I can't feel that much. But when I can feel them, I know they're pretty deep. Like right here, right in here is a groove. You guys can't see it because I don't want to expand it, but there's a groove in here about half an inch down. So what I'm going to do is probably take this. I'm probably going to take one of these and just barely touch it, just barely. I normally don't do that because I'm repeating myself, kind of making more of a mess than another. But with this, because it's hard, I want to do it just ever so slightly. So I'll be doing that. The other thing is I've got to use this. Okay, this is my sander. I put sanding disc on here and I go in here like that, right? Well, this one is a little bit hard to do because it's big, but I have another one. So you go in here like this and do it a little bit. Now, the key though, I want to take this, eventually I want to take this piece off. When I do that, that means I can't sanding in here anymore because I can't use, unless I make a mortise or a tenon, unless I have a way to fix it or to attach it to my chuck, I can't turn it. So it does pose a problem, but I've done a lot of my bowls this way. It just makes things a little bit harder to do, but it's not a big deal. So I always tell my friends, life's too short. Just do it. Just do it. Okay. So now I gotta find my okay, I had to go back in my arsenal. Okay, so I have a sanding disc, right? I got worried. So what I'm gonna do first, okay, so what I'm gonna do this first. I'm trying to see if I can get away with not using it. I hate using the gouges when they're this close to finishing. So yes, this will be finished for my show. Okay, I'm going to turn a couple of things on. Now, I'm wearing this. Very Pat. Eileen, Dorita. Now, I got this about as good as I'm going to get it. Alright, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to do two things. First off, okay, so now, you see that? This is sticky. This is what they call a tack cloth. You can go through them like crazy, by the way. I don't know why they're not cheaper. It should be like 99 cents. It used to be. Now they're $1.99. A buck more. Anyway. Okay, so this, what I do is, after I blow it out, now the air hose is good and bad first. The air hose sometimes can get all the, if there's stuff that's getting stuck in here, it can get all the bad stuff out, right? Okay, so that's good or bad. It doesn't matter. One way or the other. You don't have to. Okay, but I found out by experimenting a little bit that I used to take a paper towel and go in here. Now I have blue paper towels. I'm out of them. But when you wipe it down and you still get a residue, that should tell you something. Because when you go to put a finish on this, if it's varnish or whatever, it'll show up. And you'll be sanding and sanding and sanding and wonder, wow, you know. Don't ever trust one of these, because sometimes they get clogged up. And I use the air hose for a lot of stuff. So the air hose, it helps me out and down. The only problem with the air hose can be, if you're not careful with it, is you could shoot and peel off some of the wood by accident. So hang on a second. I'm gonna get a paper towel. Okay, so now what I like to do is just go over it again. Now hardwoods usually don't have too much of a problem as the softwoods. I do have scrapes in there, but I have to do that by hand when I take it off. Okay, so see what I was talking about? Okay, so when you're doing a finish job, after you've sanded everything, use that as a last resort. What I use, if you don't have an air hose, that's fine. When you go to wipe this down, wipe it down with this, and then go over it again with this. You'll peel up everything, all right? That'll save you a lot of headache and a lot of sanding, which I can't stand. This is where I need a robot. I say, you know, like an Alexa robot. Anyway, that's my 10 cents for today. You can take it or leave it. Remember what I say. If you're not doing anything, give it a program or create something that makes some sawdust. Have a great day, guys.